Hi there, welcome to the Faces of ALX SE podcast. Today we bring you another great story with a great learner from the ALX SE program. So I'd like to introduce to you Ayobami Adebasin. I do not know if I pronounced his name right. Please correct
It's fine.
me. Yes, who was an ALX SE learner and is now interning at Amazon. Yeah, Amazon. So we're just gonna first of all realize that this is a great achievement. It shows that ALX is doing things that change people's lives, and we sort of brought him here so that you get to know his story, you get some motivation, you get to realize that what you're doing matters. Ultimately, it matters, and the world will make room for you. You just have to be excellent at what you do. So he's currently in the US. I'm currently in Africa. We are functioning on different time zones. I think it's 5 p.m. where you are. No, 2 p.m. where you are.
2 p.m.
Yeah, it's midnight where I'm at, but we had to make this work because this was a very, very important story to tell, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm scared of saying your name again, but I'll just give it a shot. Ayobami.
Yeah, Ayobami Adebashi. Yeah.
Adebasin.
Yeah.
Yes. Please let our people know just a bit about you, what you do, probably where you grew up. Just very basic things about you, what would you like the audience to know about you? And a fun fact, for us to know that you're not that different from us. We're all special. Yes,
Okay, my name is Ayobami Adebashi. I grew up in Nigeria, in Lagos. I was born in Lagos, but I spent most of my life in another city in Ibadan, Oyo State, in Nigeria. So I had my secondary school in Oyo State. Then before I moved to college, that is university. So I studied math. I'm a math major. I studied math in undergraduate at Obafemi Awolowo University. And yeah, so after my first degree, I came to the US for my master's. And probably before coming to the US, towards the end of my degree in Nigeria, I enrolled for ALX software engineering program. Yeah, and after the program, I worked for a year. Then before I moved to the US for my master's degree, right now I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in math also, and I'm right now interning at Amazon as a software engineer.
Wow.
About me, I'm an introvert, so I don't have too much fun fact, but just one fact about me is it's obvious, really, as a math major, I love playing with numbers. So, when I was younger, there's this mental activity I love doing. So anywhere I see number, probably I was moving on the streets, I try to find the factors, kind of factorize, find the prime factors of that number. So it's a fun fact about me. So that's one of the fun facts about me. So it's not really fun if you're not a math major, so you might not really think about it as fun. But to me, okay. I feel like it's
it must be fun for you. I mean, probably majorly smart and good at everything you do and where you're at now. So it helps. It helps to be fun at things you're actually doing. Yeah. So it's really, really lovely to get to know you. And so since this story is going out to many people, ALX learners, and many people you're probably inspiring, I'm gonna ask, what inspired you to enter the world of software engineering since you were doing math? So how did you get into SE?
Okay, while I was an undergrad, I studied math, so I realized that there was a kind of a gap in knowledge, because I understood that, I think when I was in my 200 level, I understood that most of the maths that I was learning, if you want to apply it to real world problems, you need to know about computing generally, because basically you wouldn't be working in, for example, let's say you're working at NASA, there's some places where you wouldn't necessarily be solving, equations by hand. You'll have to do it programmatically, right? So I realized, so my undergrad, I only took 2 computer science courses, like introductory programming classes, but I wanted to know more, and I read some books, and I discovered that most of the maths I'll be needing if I want to if I want to apply them in real world, I need to learn about programming, right? So the programming courses I took in my undergrad, that is on my tutorial level, it was not enough. So I decided to learn more about programming. So I started learning that through personal studies, YouTube videos, etc. Then by the time I graduated, like when I was my final year, so there was we had this kind of break. It was a gap year, basically, because then my school was generally, the school was on strike. So, in Nigerian universities, sometimes, we go on strike due to the government policies and all those things. So that year we were on strike, and so when I got home, one of my friends introduced me to, just shared me the link because she knew I always wanted to learn how to program. So she shared that link with me. She said it's a software engineering program that's going to for a year. Okay, so I decided, I was reluctant at first, but then I took it and I registered. Then when I registered, I started taking, but when the first thing that came out to me was when I saw that, okay, it's 70 hours per week. I'll be spending 70 hours per week. I was
very intense.
Ask you for 70 hours per week. Even a full-time job doesn't ask you for 70 hours per week. So I took it as a challenge. Okay. Then I was still in school. So I enrolled for the program, and it started, initially it was not hard. I was like, but it's for me, it has a reputation. I have this feeling that it's going to be hard, but starting out initially, it was not hard because then you started with some basics. So it was not really hard, but I was enjoying it all along. But so after a couple of weeks, it started getting hard, it started getting intense. So then I had to move from my school. I moved back home because school was on strike then. So there was no point for me staying in school. So I just basically went home. And another reason why I went home was because after a couple of weeks of starting the program, I saw some, I don't know how I got to know it, probably on the Slack channel. I saw that ALX will be providing workspaces in Lagos. So I could remember there was someone sent out this link and said, oh, if you're in Lagos, because I used to live in Lagos. So the link says if you live in Lagos, ALX will be providing workspaces so you can register. So I was like, okay, this is good, because instead of me being in school, let me just move to Lagos. This is where I'm staying, right? And I'll have access to it, right? So it makes a lot of sense. So I decided, I registered for the hub, which is it's ALX. It's called Workstation. The place is called the Workstation. So I registered for it. Unfortunately, the hub was kind of close to my residence. So when I registered for it, I decided to move back home. So when I moved back to Lagos, I was not doing anything, right? I was in my final year. Well, I was in my final year, but literally I was done, but I've not graduated officially, but I was really done with coursework and my final exams. So I just need to, the only thing is just to graduate officially, but I haven't graduated officially, but technically I'm really done with school. So I decided, there was nothing I was doing in school. So I moved back home. And so when I moved back home, I started going to the workstation, and the workstation, I don't know. So workstation is the building, is the name of the workspace, but then it's I won't say ALX hub, so it's the hub, right? So the hub is inside the workstation, because we are not the only one using the workstation. There are other companies that rent the workspace for their employees, right? So I met a couple of guys. I met some friends that till today we still talk, right? So when I moved to the workspace and I started going, and I come back in the evening. It was more or less like a full-time job. That's basically 50 hours per week. So it was intense, and I started doing it. I made friends. These guys I met there, these guys were smart, and if I have any challenge, I walk up to them, share knowledge, we share ideas, we do our peer reviews and all those things. So it went on and on. It went on like that for like 6 weeks, 6 months. Yeah, 6 months. Really, really started getting tough. The further you go into the program, the tougher it gets, and it was really, really tough. I must confess, it was really, really tough, and it was challenging. But then you just have to do it.
Yeah.
But
many people say it was really tough, but that's something I actually would like to ask. What kept you going? Because no one is gonna kill you if you quit. It's not like you had paid fees or something. What was the mind with which you were like, I have to finish this, like I actually have to get it done with? Because there's a lot of people that still are unable to see it through because of that fact that it can get tougher. So how does someone like get past that?
Okay, should I be honest? The reason why it was not some kind of motivation. The reason that kept me going was because I just needed to, because I was almost graduating, right? So I was thinking, what do I do next after my graduation, right? So if I graduate and the next thing I want to think of probably I was thinking either I get a job or I go to grad school, right? So when I've been applying to grad school, I have not been getting offers for grad school. So the next possible thing for me is to get a job. So I needed to get a job right after graduation, and that was the motivation that keeps me going, because I can't afford to sit down at home and doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So it was what, if anything at all, I just needed to get, and because I need to start by that time, I need to become independent, right? Yeah. And so becoming independent after school really dawned on me. And I was like, I really need this to get this, and probably most likely get a job after I'm done. So that was enough motivation. I don't need anybody motivating me to do this.
Okay, and then you shared something about how you felt like the maths you were doing was not applicable in your real world, and you felt like you needed software engineering to complement what you were doing, right? Did you say that? Did I get you right?
Yeah, well, it's not like the math is not applicable, but for me, I realized that when I was an undergrad, I do a lot of research. And one of those research I have a couple friends living in the US, studying in the US. One of the things I realized from one of my research is that with a math degree, I can really do anything. Like literally, I can go into any field. For me, math is like a kind of tool. I have colleagues that after their math degree, they go into finance. I have friends that after their math degree, they go into data science. I have friends that after their math degree, they go into public health. So I have friends that after their math degree, they go into engineering.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel if I want to apply this in the real world, the way the world operates currently, we are in the technology era, right? The way the world works currently is if you want to do any form of computation, you need to, even if you're doing math, if you want to do any form of computation, you need to do it programmatically. You don't need to do it by hand. So I was thinking, I sat down, I thought, if no one is going to employ me to come and solve a 100 by 100 matrix by hand, or solve a calculus differential equation by hand, if I want to really apply this knowledge. So no one is going to ask me to do it by hand. Yeah, there might be instances where you have to do it by hand when you want to solve an abstract problem, but for the most part, you are going to need knowledge of computing.
Yeah.
So, and that was what made me venture into software engineering. So I actually wanted, and then that was when the AI thing started becoming a thing. Yeah. Right? AI started becoming. So when I started studying AI, then I started taking some Coursera courses on AI. I used to take Coursera courses a lot. I realized that everything in AI is basically math and being implemented in code.
Yeah.
So now made me feel like I wanted to do something at the intersection of math and computer science.
Okay,
right?
okay. Yeah.
So and that was the turning point, because when I started thinking about it, even if you want to do anything, let's talk about, let's say, for example, cryptography, cryptanalysis. It's just basic math. It's math because there's a course we take in math, number theory. So when I was taking that course in undergrad, we were doing it like theoretically, but I do more research and I discovered that this thing is very, very applicable in everything we do, right? From browsing the internet, making purchases on online stores, for making all these things secure. It's all based on cryptography, right? And at the basis of it, it's just math. And I learned all the math and I was like, how do I apply this? And the next thing is, how do I apply that? And I discovered for me to apply this, you really need to be able to implement this in software.
Yeah.
You need to and make it usable. So I saw many of these instances, and that was what made me realize. For example, let me give you another instance. If I have a friend that went into finance, if you are working in, let's say, JP Morgan, you won't be necessarily solving math, but you'll be doing math all the time, but you won't be solving it by hand. You would implement code. There are people that are doing research. There are people that are doing into the engineering aspect. So most of these things, it doesn't mean, there's a common notion amongst math students to say, we normally say our math doesn't have applications, which is not necessarily true. It has applications, even though we might not be doing the applications at the moment, but they all have applications. But the gap between what you're learning in class and the application, I think for me, is that part of computer science, software engineering.
All right.
That was the gap.
Okay.
But once you learn, if you can understand programming, even if you don't need to be a software, but you don't need to be like a full-blown software engineer, but having basic knowledge of programming. If you want to do data science, you need to learn how, you need to learn some of this NumPy, SPSS, whatever. It's still a form of programming, right? So that's going to bridge your gap of your statistics knowledge, which might be theoretical, and bridge it to real world applications in, you want to be a full-blown data analyst, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I feel that's part of computing, is the bridge between what you are learning in the theoretical aspect of what you are learning and the application aspect of what we are learning. So for me, I started feeling I needed something at the intersection of math and computer science, and that was when I feel like I need to go into software engineering.
All right.
That's it.
That makes a lot of sense. So did you have like any special things you wanted to do in relation to software engineering? Did you like have a dream of like, I want to be able to do this or to work with this company or to like accomplish this? Like, I love math and I feel like I need to do computer science so that I can execute my vision. Or okay, I know you said you wanted a job, but like over time, like when you were in ALX and you were doing this, did your vision evolve by any chance? Did you feel like, wow, I can actually do a lot more with this? And I'm asking this because I have a special interest in knowing people's dreams. Like after you accomplish all these things, after you attain all these skills, before you die, what's that one thing you hope to have accomplished in life with those skills? Yeah.
For me, when I was younger, I used to have this dream of, my dream was not even related to computer science or software engineering. My dream then was to be a theoretical physicist. Okay. I was really into physics. Even before I got into college, I was into physics. I really love physics a lot and math. So my dream then was to become a theoretical physicist, and that was one of the reasons why I came to study math.
Yeah.
But going into college, I would say college kind of changed my view about things. Mm-hmm. And when I started learning about computer science, software engineering, I felt like, okay, I don't necessarily want to go into being a theoretical physicist anymore. I wanted to do something at the intersection of math and computer science. And what that intersection is what everybody now knows as AI. So I heard that when I started learning AI, when it started becoming a thing that everybody started getting to know about, I did some research about it, and I realized, okay, this is the kind of progress that has been made in the AI community, AI research community so far. These are the promises of what the future would hold about AI. I thought, okay, I think I'm interested in this, right? Now it's, for me, it's at the intersection of math. I can see for all these courses I take, I saw that if it was all just math and, math and computer science, computer science and, software engineering. So I felt like this is really what I wanted to do. I really want to do AI research and make a contribution. So I kind of changed my goals when I was in undergrad, and I felt, okay, I don't want to do, even though I have an interest in physics, I really love physics at my leisure. I try to brush up on, the current research in physics and all. But my goal right now is to be an AI researcher and make good contributions to AI. Like at the focus of AI research, I want to be able to make great impact and contributions to the AI research community. So that's my goals for now. So that's why I decided to go into software engineering, learn more about software engineering, learn as I'm doing my maths, then I'll start complementing at the point, then I'll start, once I begin my PhD, and then I'll start, bringing this knowledge from maths and software engineering would come together, then I'll be able to make the impact I wish to make. So that's my
yeah. Thank you for that. So how did you get this internship? Let us know, was it like everything you learned actually in ALX? Like, did you realize that, oh my god, I actually wasn't doing this in vain, I did it for a job, but now I seem to be getting a bigger job than I even thought I would get because of it?
Okay. Shortly after, in fact, before I finished ALX, just 6 months into the ALX program, I actually got a job in Nigeria. So I got a job as a software engineer intern, and in Nigeria, I was working with a company in Lagos Island. So then I was still working. When I started the job, it was 6 months into the ALX program, and the ALX program was 1 year. So I can't afford to drop out from the ALX program. I needed to complete it and at the same time keep a full-time job. So it was kind of hard. And that feels like that wasn't even the hardest part, because now I have two things I'm doing and I need to keep up with it. So, but after I finished the ALX program, I focused on my full-time role. And when I got my grad school admission offer, I knew I was going to be leaving the job, right? So I had it in mind. Basically, to be honest, before I even left Nigeria at all, while I was doing the program, my goal, I already knew I was going to grad school, and what I was envisioning at that moment in time was I need to get some work experience in software engineering, even before I moved to grad school, because it will be useful for me in grad school. So my goal was I need to finish this ALX program, get the job, do it for like a year or two before moving to grad school, so that when I already had it in mind that when I move to grad school, I would want to apply to some of these top companies, because I've always wanted to work with them. I see the kind of work they do, all the basically fine companies. So I have in my community, in the ALX community where we were at the hub, we have this common joke. We used to say, one of us, all of us, most of us would want to work for a FANG company. So it was this kind of joke that we always say, you want to work for a FANG company. There's current CEO, a future Google CEO in our midst, and all those things. So
wow, crazy world, I see.
So I decided I had it in mind that I wanted to work for one of the FANG companies, either Google, Facebook, or Amazon, any of the FANG companies, basically. So I knew I wanted to work with them. But then for me to work with them, I already thought about it. Like, I don't say I have everything mapped out, really, but I already thought about it in advance. Okay, for me, if I want to work in these companies, I'll need to first probably get an internship when I'm still a student. So for me to increase my chances of getting an internship, I'll have to get a full-time job in Nigeria so that I'll get get the experience, like a real work experience outside a boot camp or a classroom. So, and fortunately, as God will have it, I got a job in Nigeria, and so when I got the job, I already knew, okay, this is going to help me when I move to grad school. And when I got my grad school offer and I moved to grad school, the very, very first semester I moved to grad school, I started applying for internships. I applied to Amazon, I applied to Google, I applied to Microsoft, I applied to JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. So I applied to all these companies because I've been, willing to apply to them while I was in Nigeria. But because of the fact that I'm in Nigeria and, we have these opportunities that are limited, you don't have access to these opportunities even in Nigeria. So I feel moving for grad school gave me access to these opportunities. And when I got there, I started applying to these companies. Yeah, I got some rejects. Obviously, I got some rejects. And yeah, I got a few people, I got some emails to work on the what we call it, online assessments, the technical assessment. So my resume got past the screening stage. So I was invited for an online assessment, and yeah, I did a couple of online assessments for like 2 or 3 companies. I did for ZipRecruiter, Amazon, and I can't even remember the last one, but I only got one offer eventually. So I got the Amazon offer, and yeah, I decided to go for it.
All right. I'm really glad that came through for you. And you sort of like saw your world coming. I can tell you plan your life, you plan your steps, you don't like leave by accident, which is a good thing, because you make things happen for you. You make things happen and you go for things. And I think that's powerful. And thanks for sharing your journey with us. Really, it's enlightening. It's encouraging. It's like, it shows that what people are doing here isn't in vain. Those 70 hours are actually worth it, because they give you the skills needed, and so
even until now, like all the things I learned in ALX, sometimes I still go back to them. I have all the codes and all those things. So most of those things, I think for me, ALX is really, really, how would I describe it? It taught us the basics of software engineering in such a way that no matter where you want to work, you'll see the same thing wherever you are working. It might be different. It might be kind of different in the sense that, for example, like most of these companies have they have their internal way of doing things, like especially the big companies. They might have their internal way of doing things, but it's still at a high level, it's still similar to what we learn. So sometimes if I say a concept, I would remember, I've done this in ALX, then I would try to like review those things we did, then review the codes and try to remember, even while in Nigeria, it helped me when I was working full time. I will always go back and, I've learned this before in ALX, then I can apply it. So I think it's really, really helped me a lot. And I found a lot of things I learned at ALX applicable in my current role and my previous job also. So it's really gave me the, even some things that I've forgotten, when I go back to it, I try to remember, then it helps me a lot.
Yeah. All right. So how has this entire experience changed your perspective of life, the perspective of possibilities, what one can or can't do? I just want to understand, has this actually impacted you, not just on a career level, but on a personal level, as a human being, as someone who has a dream and a mission in life?
Okay. For me, I would say, to put it in perspective, I have a close friend, and there was a day we were having this kind of conversation. I was like, the person asked me, Ayobami, where do you see yourself in the next 3-4 years? What's your goal? I said it nonchalantly, but I just said, I want to work with a fan company. I don't have any idea how I wanted to do it then. Honestly, I had no idea how I wanted to go about it then, but I just said it. And after that conversation, I actually thought about it. I could really, really get a job at a fan company. I had this goal. That's when I started taking it. I used to have it in mind, but then I didn't really take it serious. But at that moment in time, I started taking it serious. Like, it's just like something told me you can actually get a job at a fan company. I decided to take it serious from there. And so, at the personal level, I would say the way this changed it has changed something about me, and what it changed about me is that I don't sound like a motivational speaker, but it's made me realize that if you want anything in this life, if you want anything and you work hard enough towards it with determination, not just motivation, if you are determined enough, you will definitely get it. It might take long, but you will definitely get it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You will definitely get it.
You will definitely.
Period. All right. Thank you for that encouragement.
You work hard enough.
Yeah, you'll definitely get it. And then maybe like a small message to like the SE learners that are probably watching this, that probably have just begun, and sometimes they feel like, oh my God, okay, I know back then you did it for a job, but now I still think you have a wiser perspective or a point of view as to why this actually matters, why this actually counts. And it may seem later right now, or the vision may not be clear while they're just starting off, but the world is always prepared for people who are actually equipped. What would you say?
Okay. A short message I would like to give out is, for everyone out there trying to, it might not make sense right now. You might feel like, I have had people that started and it doesn't make sense to them and they feel like, let me just quit. It might not make sense now. You might not have everything figured out, but I think for me, what's most important is to enjoy the process more than the destination.
Yeah.
Right. If you enjoy the process, I would tell you that the time I spent at ALX, especially with my colleagues, then it was one of the most interesting time of my life. Even though I was not getting paid, I used my money, but I really enjoyed it because I enjoyed the process. The people I get to meet. So it's more or less like it's more of the process rather than the destination. It's good to have a goal, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't enjoy the process right now, you would not necessarily. If you achieve your goal, you just tend to if you achieve your goal at the end of it, probably you have always wanted to work with a company and you get that offer. If you didn't enjoy the process that took you to that place, you won't necessarily enjoy that role because you feel like you feel boring. It's going to be boring. So for me, I enjoy the process, and after the program, I really discovered that I just want to keep doing this again, like over and over again. So all those things I've learned, then now, then when I was doing it, it didn't really make sense. But when I saw them right now popping out in my day-to-day job, day-to-day role, I discovered that wow, so this thing actually has
value.
Has value. Exactly, that's value.
Yeah.
So then it didn't really make sense for me because I was like, it was too stressful at the time. I wanted to quit, but I was like, no, I can't afford to quit. So it might not make sense right now, but what is most important is to enjoy the process and try as much as possible we should learn. We should try to get as much knowledge as possible. Process as much as possible, because honestly, I can categorically tell you that no knowledge, nothing I learned from ALX was a waste. Like even till date, I told you, like as I said before, I still go to I have all my code repository, like my repository, I still have all of them, and sometimes I still go back to it and try to brush up on some concepts. I still go back to the intranet, right? I still go back to the intranet. I log into the intranet, try to go over something, because once I if I come across something in my work, I would remember, it's some kind of like, there's going to be this kind of connection that, I've done this, I've seen this thing before, and I remember, it's nowhere than ALX. So I will just go back to the intranet or go back to my code and try to brush up on it, and, I could now see, the advantage, the value of what I was learning then that didn't really make sense. Not everything that I did makes sense then. So exactly the same thing, some of us might be passing it, but like going through that right now. Not everything will make sense at you might not even you might feel like, oh, what's the value? I could remember. Let me give an example. There was a time when we're doing this concept of passing logs. It didn't really make sense to me then. But right now, I actually needed that knowledge. Like right now, I was working on a project recently and actually needed that. So I had to go back and try to understand that all the concept from that topic. Then it didn't to me, but right now it feels like it's now it's golden. Like, wow, so I had this much value here just sitting down here, and right now I needed it and I have to go back to it. So just to complete my message is let's just try, everybody that is trying to struggling to make things meet with in terms of professional, in terms of our career, I would say let's just try to enjoy the process and try to gain as much knowledge as possible. And another thing is we should try as much as possible to get involved with community, because the community at ALX helped me a lot, especially the people I was meeting with on a day-to-day. So even if at all I wanted to quit, these people would not allow me to quit, because I'll be like, my mates are not, why should I quit? So we are both going through this. So I think another thing that would help is it might be boring, it might be discouraging if you are walking through this alone. So I would say community really helps a lot. That community helped me, and most of these people I met then, we are still friends to today. We still talk. We still have that same group chat we had then. We are still talking on that group chat today.
And the rest of them are going to Google and all these other cool places.
I hope to see some of them at anywhere in the nearest future, where you are working with Google, Microsoft, Morgan, NASA, SpaceX, Tesla. I want to see all these guys, right? So that's just it. And everything we are learning at ALX is really, really, it's standard. I'll just put it out. It's standard, and you would definitely see at anywhere you want to work. Even if you want to work with SpaceX, NASA, any company, you would definitely get to use all those things. It's not a waste. It's not a waste of time. It's an investment. It might not bring the return on investment at the moment, but trust me, in the nearest future, when you get to some places, when you now remember that, all those things you learned then is not going to be a waste. Another thing is, another thing I would like to get out is, I see we should see ALX as, apart from the fact that we are learning something, we are learning technical content. Another thing we should, the act of perseverance. It's also going to help you, even if you started working, because if you don't persevere enough to scale through ALX, how much are you going to persevere when you start working on a real job? Like when you get on a real job, and if you are on a real job, sure, you definitely have some mentors to help you out. You'll have some teammates that would help you out, but then everybody's trying at that moment in time. You won't have that kind of close connections like you would have if you have not started a job. So one thing we also learn is perseverance. Like the act of perseverance is really, really helpful, because it's going to also help you. Like right now, it's helping me in my job. Like I feel like there are sometimes when I actually get frustrated. I'm trying to learn new things. Right, I have to learn a whole lot of new things, because most of the things I have to learn are internal. So my knowledge is still transferable, but it's just like there's an internal way of doing these things in all these companies. So sometimes you might not necessarily get it. You would struggle a lot, and I can't really be asking the person, my teammate every now and then about this. So I have to sit down sometimes, pull my head down, try to figure things out, and that's why I said now it's just like the same process I passed through in ALX. Now just the same things I used to do then are the same things I'm doing right now. So the same things. So just about, as I said, it's just about the process. So if you enjoy the process, persevere, you'll find those knowledge and skills would also transfer to wherever you find yourself in the nearest future, and trust me, you will enjoy it.
All right.
So that's my message. So I hope it helps someone out there.
I'm sure it will. You've helped me too. I'm certain that now I need to learn to enjoy the process. So many of us are very goal oriented that we don't see the treasure in, the baby steps that we go through each day. And if you can't enjoy the process, you probably wouldn't even work well after the process. Like even if you graduated, you dread the work because you dreaded the learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I get that. And perseverance, it's a learned habit. And ALX is a good way to start when no one is forcing you, when no one has to force you to. So no one will force you to start either. Yeah. So,
you're not getting paid.
Yeah, you're not getting paid to persevere, but like you have to. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Ayobami, and may God bless you. I hope that everything you're doing and all your endeavors are a success. We hope to see you go higher and higher. Keep the flag flying high. Keep doing hard things. We're really proud of you. And to our viewers, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more. Remember to subscribe, share, and send this video to a friend. Inspire them to either start this journey or to continue in this journey. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.